Hello, people. I have finished a book. There's no title there. I'm sure at one time this had a slipcover, but it's gone. The thing was published in 1960. True Tales of the South Seas. I was at King Book Saturday, and I bought this. And I took my daughter there with me, and she likes true crime, so while she was looking at the true crime, I was looking around that area, and they had an aisle labeled American Anthologies, and this was in there. I don't know why. I guess the Sandwich Islands are American, but none of the other ones are. And really, the authors here, there was at least one American that I could think of, but other than that, they're not Americans. But this was a wonderful little book. Every once in a while, I can just spot a gem, and this is it. I'm going to get right to the notes. This had 24 stories in it. 20 different authors, but really, there's 21 authors, because I didn't know it, but the books, Mutiny on the Bounty, Pitcairn Island, and Men Against the Sea, those books have co-authors, and apparently everything they wrote together. So they have a story in here. William Bligh, his account of the open boat voyage is in here. There's a story by Robert Louis Stevenson. There's a story by Samuel Clemens, and I'm not going to insult anyone's intelligence by telling them who that is. And there's a story by Thomas Henry Huxley. And yes, that is the Huxley that is like Darwin's bulldog. And I probably don't know enough about that guy, other than he was Darwin's bulldog. Each little story is preceded by a short biography of the author. I just love the way this was set up. 342 pages. I started reading this Saturday. I read on it Sunday, and then I finished it this morning. This was Monday morning. Page 53. 153. It's an example of the little bios that they give you. And I have another one, too, that I'm going to read. Samuel L. Clemens. Samuel L. Clemens, 1835 to 1910, whose arrival in Honolulu on March 18, 1866, was noted on the passenger list under his recently adopted pseudonym of Mark Twain. Spent 4 years in the Hawaiian Islands as a newspaper correspondent for the Sacramento, California Weekly Union. Traveling around the group, he described life as he saw it a century ago in the future 50th state. While he was in Honolulu, some survivors of one of the most amazing episodes in Pacific annals arrived in the hospital at that port. The clipper ship Hornet had accidentally been set on fire near the equator, and Captain Hosea Mitchell and 14 men had made their way in the ship's longboat to, I'm not going to try and read that Hawaiian name, on the island of Hawaii, a voyage of 4,000 miles. I'm not going to read the rest of it either. Second paragraph, page 188. I have another book that I'm going to start tonight. I got 4 books when I went to King Book. 4 books for $34. This is a story called Trouble at Tabateeri. On arriving near the beach, the 3 divisions formed in a line abreast. According to the directions, Lieutenant Walker, with Mr. Hale, now showed the white flag and pulled in toward the beach in front in order to hold a parley. Make further inquiries relative to Anderson, and endeavored to have him given up. if alive. These natives had taken prisoner a Mr. Anderson. They actually had murdered him, bashed his brains out. There were about 500 natives well armed on the beach, and others were constantly coming in from all sides. They shouted and shook their weapons with threatening gestures. Many of them, however, seemed undecided how to act, and their whole appearance, though formidable enough, was yet quite ludicrous in the eyes of the men, equipped as the savages were in their cumbrous coats of mail and fish-skin helmets. I love the fish-skin helmet thing. First two paragraphs, page 198. I don't know about that first two paragraphs. This is about, and this is the Globe Mutineers. I've read this before. That was before the decline, for the Yankee whalers became so energetic that they steadily fished out even the world's oceans. Originally, a ship could fill its hold with oil in 3 months, but soon after Sam Comstock's time, a voyage might require 3 years or even 4 before the return home. Between 1835 and 1872, in the boom years, almost 300,000 whales were killed around the world. The slaughter was a tragedy of waste. The ship Hope in 1844 reckoned that only 1 whale out of every 3 killed was saved. The rest sank or drifted away. I'm not going to finish that paragraph. The Globe Mutineers I had read before, and the ship that was wrecked by a whale I had read before. The ship that was wrecked by a whale is in a book called In the Heart of the Sea, because the ship really was wrecked by a whale, and those guys had to make a big open voyage. I don't know, I was just amazed that Tahiti was discovered, and I say discovered. That's stupid, because there was already people living there, so it was discovered by Europeans in 1767, which is not all that fucking long ago. Last paragraph, page 321. It's very near the end of the book. It's hard to find pages in this book because it's got those cool pages that are like uneven. And I'm just having a hard time getting this page open because, for one, my fingers are freezing. Okay, last paragraph. Particularly diverting is his straight-faced account of the old trade that went on between Wallace' lusty seamen and the complacent Tahitian women. At first the ladies were satisfied with a 10-penny nail for their favors, but soon inflation set in to a point where sailors were trading their hammock spikes and tearing cleats from the Dolphin's deck, so that, when Captain Wallace found out about the commerce, he no longer wondered that the ship was in danger of being pulled to pieces for the nails and irons that held her together. And page 337, I think it's another little biog. Yes, it is. Woodes Rogers. The islands of Juan Fernandez off the Chilean coast were for 60 years the favorite rendezvous of British buccaneers in the Pacific. Several of them had survived on these rocky isles before Alexander Selkirk, a contentious Scot, was marooned there in 1704 at his own request by Captain Thomas Stradling of the Cinque Ports. Captain Woodes Rogers, in command of the Duke and Duchess, privateers on an around-the-world foray against His Majesty's enemies, the French and the Spaniards, was author of the first account of the Rescue of Selkirk. On the evening of February 1st, 1709, the 2 ships, desperately in need of water after rounding South America, approached the island and were startled by seeing a light ashore. Expecting a Spanish garrison, a French fleet, or a band of pirates, they discovered next morning that their fears had been aroused by one poor naked man, Selkirk. He was taken aboard by Rogers after having spent 4 years and 4 months alone on the island. And the name of the story is The Real Robinson Crusoe. I got one more thing to read, but I can smell that burger. I'm going to go flip it real quick. I got a little wood fire going on. I got burger going on there. Third paragraph, 341. This is funny, too. This is about the Selkirk guy that's the original Robinson Crusoe. After he had conquered his melancholy, he diverted himself sometimes by cutting his name on the trees, and the time of his being left, and continuance there. He was at first much pestered with cats and rats that had bred in great numbers from some of each species which had got ashore from ships that put in there to wood and water. The rats gnawed his feet and clothes while asleep, which obliged him to cherish the cats with his goat's flesh, by which many of them became so tame that they would lie about him in hundreds, and soon delivered him from the rats. He likewise tamed some kids, baby goats, and to divert himself would now and then sing and dance with them and his cats, so that being now but about 30 years old, he came at last to conquer all the inconveniences of his solitude, and to be very easy. I don't know, that doesn't sound too fucking bad. Maybe you throw a woman in there, and a woman and hundreds of cats, that wouldn't be so bad. Thanks for watching.